Most men miss the moment a woman decides she wants them, not because the signal wasn't there, but because they were never taught how to see it. And by the time they realize what happened, she's already emotionally gone. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to explain is something women rarely say out loud. Not because it's complicated, but because once you understand it, you start seeing attraction differently. As a psychologist, I've spent years studying the quiet language women use when they feel emotionally and physically drawn to a man. It isn't loud, it isn't obvious, and it certainly doesn't look like the movies. Most men think attraction is about bold flirting or dramatic signals, but in real life, when a woman begins to desire deeper closeness with you, her behavior becomes more subtle, more emotional, and much more revealing. The first truth you need to understand is this: a woman almost never moves toward intimacy with a man she does not feel safe around. Safety is the invisible foundation of attraction. Without it, nothing else matters. But safety doesn't mean being overly nice or constantly trying to impress her. In fact, many men sabotage attraction by doing exactly that. They become performers instead of grounded men. Women don't move closer to performers. They move closer to men who feel emotionally steady, present, and confident in their own skin. And when that kind of connection begins to form, something fascinating happens. Her attention changes. A woman who feels drawn to you starts studying you in ways that seem almost invisible. She watches how you react to small things, how you treat people, how you carry yourself when you're relaxed. This isn't judgment. It's curiosity mixed with attraction. Because when a woman begins imagining intimacy with a man, she isn't just evaluating his appearance. She's asking herself something much deeper. Can I trust how this man makes me feel? And when the answer starts leaning toward yes, her behavior shifts in subtle but powerful ways. One of the first signals appears in how she holds eye contact. Most casual conversations involve quick glances and polite attention. But when a woman feels a deeper pull toward you, her eye contact becomes slightly longer, slightly warmer, almost as if she's searching your face for something, not aggressively, not obviously. But there is a softness there, a curiosity that lingers just a moment longer than necessary. Psychologically, prolonged eye contact activates emotional bonding in the brain. It increases feelings of connection and awareness. Women who feel attraction often do this unconsciously because their mind is trying to deepen the moment. But here's the detail most men miss. It's not just that she looks at you, it's what happens after. When a woman wants emotional closeness, she often looks away slowly, sometimes smiling slightly, sometimes lowering her gaze before looking back again. This small rhythm of connection and retreat creates tension. Healthy tension, the kind that makes both people feel a quiet electricity. But many men panic during this moment. They break eye contact quickly, start talking too fast, or try to fill the silence with jokes. And that tension disappears. Confidence in these moments isn't about dominating the interaction. It's about being comfortable inside the pause. Because attraction often grows in silence, not noise. A woman who wants intimacy isn't always looking for a man who talks the most. She's looking for a man who feels calm enough to simply be there with her. When that happens, conversations begin to shift as well. Instead of staying on surface topics, she slowly opens emotional doors. She might ask about your past, your passions, or the experiences that shaped you. These questions are rarely random. They're invitations. Women who feel attracted to a man want to understand his inner world. They want to feel the depth of his personality, not because they're interviewing you, but because emotional connection fuels physical attraction far more than most men realize. This is where many men misunderstand female psychology. Men often separate emotional connection and physical attraction. Women tend to blend them. When emotional safety, curiosity, and attraction begin to overlap, that's when intimacy starts becoming a real possibility in her mind. And if you pay attention carefully, you'll notice that something else begins to change. Her physical distance, not dramatically, but gradually. She stands a little closer during conversations. Her body turns toward you instead of away. Sometimes she mirrors your movements without realizing it. Psychologists call this mirroring behavior. It's one of the clearest subconscious signs of attraction. Humans naturally mirror people they feel comfortable with. It creates a sense of harmony between two people. And when that mirroring begins happening consistently, it means the emotional walls are lowering. That's the moment many men wait for without realizing it. Because intimacy never begins with physical contact. It begins with emotional permission. And once that permission appears, her signals become impossible to miss, if you know where to look. There is a moment in every developing attraction that most men completely overlook. It's the moment when a woman stops interacting with you politely and starts interacting with you personally. At first, the difference is almost invisible. But once you understand female psychology, you'll never miss it again. When a woman begins wanting deeper closeness with a man, her communication changes in a very specific way. She starts inviting emotional space between the two of you. Not space that pushes you away, space that quietly pulls you closer. You'll notice this when conversations stop feeling like interviews and start feeling like shared moments. She begins telling small personal stories, things that have nothing to do with the situation you're in. Maybe she talks about a childhood memory, a strange habit she has, a moment in life that made her laugh or embarrassed her. These details may seem random, but psychologically, they are not random at all. When a woman shares personal fragments of her life, she is testing something incredibly important: emotional safety. Think of it like opening a small window into her world. She watches how you react. Do you listen carefully? Do you dismiss the moment? Do you try to impress her instead of understanding her? Women are extremely sensitive to emotional responses in these moments, not because they are analyzing you like a scientist, but because attraction grows where emotional understanding exists. A man who truly listens creates something rare: presence. And presence is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. Here's the fascinating part many men don't realize. When a woman feels drawn toward intimacy with you, she often begins creating opportunities for connection that appear accidental. She might text you something small during the day, a random thought, a funny observation, or even a simple question she could easily answer herself. On the surface, it looks meaningless, but psychologically, it's a connection probe. She's creating a small emotional bridge between you and her day. If you respond with warmth and calm curiosity, that bridge becomes stronger. If you respond with coldness, arrogance, or disinterest, the bridge disappears. And once a woman removes emotional bridges, attraction fades quickly. Another fascinating behavior appears when she begins to tease you lightly. Playful teasing is often misunderstood by men. Some interpret it as disrespect. Others panic and try too hard to defend themselves. But teasing is actually a powerful signal of comfort and attraction. When a woman playfully challenges you, she is testing your emotional stability. She wants to see if you can handle light tension without becoming defensive. Men who react with calm humor and confidence create a powerful psychological effect. They show that they are emotionally grounded, and grounded men feel safe to women. This kind of playful back and forth creates a subtle energy between two people. It builds emotional tension, curiosity, and excitement. But there is another behavior that becomes even more revealing. She begins initiating contact. Not necessarily physical contact yet, but interaction. She starts conversations more often. She sends the first message sometimes. She finds reasons to include you in discussions, plans, or shared moments. Many men think attraction is about chasing, but when a woman truly feels drawn toward you, she begins moving toward you too. Attraction becomes mutual gravity, and this is where the second clear sign appears. Her attention becomes selective. In group environments, a woman who feels drawn toward a man will often direct a surprising amount of her focus toward him. Even when others are present, her eyes return to him during conversation. She reacts more strongly to his jokes. She remembers small things he said earlier. She notices details most people would forget. Psychologically, this happens because attraction narrows attention. The brain prioritizes the person who triggers emotional interest. It's similar to how you might notice one voice in a crowded room if it belongs to someone important to you. Women experience this too. But here's where the signal becomes even clearer. Her body language begins aligning with her attention. When someone feels attracted, their body naturally orients toward the person of interest. Feet, shoulders, and torso subtly face that direction. Even when she's speaking with someone else, you may notice her body still angled slightly toward you. These movements are unconscious. They happen before words, before decisions, before logic even has time to intervene. And when multiple signals appear together, personal sharing, playful teasing, selective attention, and consistent communication, something deeper is happening. Her mind is no longer simply evaluating you. It's imagining what it would feel like to be closer to you, emotionally, physically. But attraction doesn't move in a straight line. Women don't suddenly announce desire or make dramatic moves the way movies portray. Instead, intimacy develops through small invitations, tiny signals, moments where she quietly gives you permission to step closer. And when a man recognizes these moments with calm confidence instead of desperation, something powerful happens. Trust deepens, attraction intensifies, and the possibility of intimacy becomes very real. The third signal is the one that confuses men the most, because it doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't look like seduction. In fact, if you don't understand psychology, you might completely overlook it. But when a woman reaches this stage, something important has already happened in her mind. She has stopped seeing you as just another man. She has started imagining what it would feel like to be closer to you, emotionally and physically. And when that shift happens, her comfort level around you begins to change in ways that are impossible to fake. One of the clearest signs is physical proximity. Not aggressive touching, not obvious flirting, just closeness. She sits a little nearer than necessary. She stands within your personal space during conversations. In a group setting, she naturally ends up beside you more often than coincidence would explain. This happens because attraction pulls people closer without them realizing it. Human beings are wired for proximity when they feel emotional interest. The brain literally associates physical closeness with emotional connection. But the real signal isn't just that she stands closer. It's that she stays there comfortably. If a woman feels uncomfortable around a man, she creates distance quickly. Her body turns away. Her feet shift toward exits. Her attention drifts elsewhere. But when she feels drawn toward you, the opposite happens. Her body relaxes in your presence. Her posture softens. She lingers. Sometimes conversations stretch longer than either of you expected. You both stand there talking, and neither of you seems in a hurry to leave. These moments feel almost suspended in time. Psychologically, this is called mutual engagement. Both people feel enough emotional comfort that the interaction becomes naturally absorbing. And when this happens repeatedly, attraction is almost always involved. Another revealing behavior appears in her touch patterns. Now listen carefully, because this part is subtle. Women who feel attracted often initiate very light, socially acceptable touches. A brief tap on your arm when laughing, a playful nudge, a quick touch on your shoulder while making a point. These touches are rarely sexual. They're emotional. They serve as tiny tests. Each touch is like a question her subconscious is asking. How does this feel between us? If the interaction feels comfortable and natural, those touches may become slightly more frequent over time. But if a man reacts awkwardly, becomes overly excited, or misinterprets the moment too quickly, the behavior often disappears. This is why emotional control is so powerful in attraction. Women feel safer exploring closeness with men who don't rush the moment. Another fascinating change appears in the way she laughs around you. Her laughter becomes more genuine, more relaxed. Even small jokes might make her smile longer than usual. This isn't because you suddenly became the funniest man alive. It's because attraction amplifies positive emotions. When someone feels drawn to you, your presence naturally raises their emotional state. Your jokes land better. Your stories feel more interesting. Your energy becomes something she enjoys being around. But perhaps the most powerful signal of all appears in her vulnerability. When a woman begins sharing thoughts that reveal uncertainty, past struggles, or deeper emotions, she is showing something incredibly valuable: trust. Vulnerability is never given casually, especially not to men a woman feels uncertain about. When she opens up emotionally, she's allowing you to see parts of her that she protects from most people. And in psychology, vulnerability is one of the strongest pathways toward intimacy, because intimacy is not built on perfection. It's built on authenticity. When two people begin sharing who they really are, without masks, without performance, emotional connection deepens rapidly. But here is the mistake that ruins this moment for many men. They try to fix everything. Instead of listening, they rush to give advice. They try to solve her problems, impress her with solutions, or prove how capable they are. But in these moments, a woman isn't looking for a hero. She's looking for understanding. She wants to feel that her emotions are safe in your presence. Men who simply listen, acknowledge her feelings, and remain calm create an incredibly powerful psychological effect. They become emotionally trustworthy. And trust is the doorway to intimacy. Because when a woman feels emotionally safe, physically attracted, and mentally stimulated by a man, her interest becomes far more than casual. She begins imagining a deeper connection, not just moments together, but experiences, memories, possibilities. And when that stage arrives, the signals become clearer than ever before. Not louder, but undeniable to the man who understands what he's looking at. There is a final shift that happens when a woman truly wants deeper intimacy with a man. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, and if you're not paying attention, you might completely misread it. But psychologically, this moment reveals everything, because this is when attraction stops being curiosity and starts becoming intention. You'll notice that she begins investing real time and energy into being around you. Not accidental moments, intentional ones. A woman who feels drawn toward intimacy will begin creating opportunities for the two of you to share space together. She might suggest grabbing coffee, joining an activity, or extending conversations that could have ended earlier. Sometimes it's subtle. Are you free later? We should continue this conversation sometime. That place you mentioned sounds interesting. These invitations are rarely direct declarations of desire. Women usually prefer building emotional momentum rather than forcing intensity. But psychologically, the meaning is clear. Time is the most valuable resource a person has. When someone repeatedly chooses to spend that time with you, it signals emotional priority. And when a woman begins prioritizing time with you, it means you are occupying real space in her mind. But here's where things become even more revealing. She begins letting you see the real version of herself. Early attraction often involves a little performance. Everyone wants to appear their best. But when a woman feels comfortable with a man, that performance slowly fades. She laughs more freely. She shares unfiltered opinions. She relaxes into silence without feeling awkward. This level of authenticity is incredibly important in psychology because it means she feels accepted in your presence. And acceptance is deeply connected to intimacy. People don't desire closeness with someone who makes them feel judged or evaluated. They desire closeness with someone who allows them to feel fully themselves. Another powerful signal appears in how she responds to your presence. When you enter a room, Her energy changes slightly. Maybe she brightens. Maybe she smiles before you even say anything. Maybe she finds her way into the conversation you're having. These reactions are rarely planned. They happen instinctively because attraction activates emotional awareness. Her brain is recognizing someone who matters, and that recognition shows through subtle excitement. But there's an even deeper signal many men overlook. She begins including you in her future language, not necessarily big future plans like relationships or commitments. It's much smaller than that. She might say things like, "You'd love this place. We should try that sometime. You'd get along with my friends." These statements may sound casual, but psychologically, they are powerful indicators. They reveal that she is imagining experiences where you exist in her world. You are no longer just a person she talks to. You're someone she is picturing inside her life. And when a woman begins imagining shared experiences, intimacy often isn't far behind. But here is the most important truth I want every man listening to understand. Attraction grows strongest when a man doesn't force it. Many men ruin genuine connection by rushing, pressuring, or trying to control the outcome. They misread signals as permission to move too fast. But real attraction thrives on patience and emotional awareness. When a man stays calm, confident, and present, he allows the connection to deepen naturally. Women feel that patience. They feel that emotional stability. And those qualities are incredibly attractive because they signal maturity and self-control. Intimacy is not something you chase. It's something you create through emotional presence, respect, and awareness. When a woman feels safe with you, intrigued by you, and emotionally connected to you, her signals will appear naturally. Eye contact that lingers, conversations that deepen, closeness that feels comfortable, time spent intentionally. And when those signals align, something powerful happens. Two people begin moving toward each other without needing to force the moment. Now I want to ask you something personal. Think about the last woman who showed real interest in you. Looking back honestly, did you recognize these signals when they were happening? Or did you only understand them after the moment had already passed? Write your answer in the comments. I read them, and your experience might help another man understand something he's struggling with right now. If this video helped you see attraction more clearly, press like so more men can discover these truths. Subscribe for deeper insights into female psychology and relationship dynamics. And share this video with a friend who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the difference between confusion and connection is simply understanding what was always there.